Some years ago, my wife and I set out on a once-in-a-lifetime excursion. After finishing a teaching abroad position with no job, no address, and no reason to rush back to America, we set out to backpack the Eastern Hemisphere. On this journey, we visited the beautiful country of Thailand. Thailand was a beautiful place filled with beautiful ruins, beautiful sights, wonderful food, and most of all, wonderful people. While we were here, we visited the great city of Chiang Mai and discovered the Elephant Nature Park. We began with a day visit to the Elephant Nature Park, which was just amazing. This was a home for abused, injured, and overworked elephants, which reacclimates them to their natural habitat with the goal of eventually reintroducing them to the wild. We learned a whole lot while we were there. We even got to feed the elephants and bathe them in a river. Finally, we had the great privilege to see a 4-day-old infant elephant that had just arrived at the center. The newborn elephant and her mother had just been brought in from a Karen Hill Tribe village. You've probably seen the Karen Hill Tribe pictures where they put rings around women's necks to stretch them and make them longer. The baby and her mother had been brought to the Elephant Nature Park because the mother had given birth to the baby while chained to a tree at the top of a hill. Nobody knew that the mother was pregnant, so when the baby was born, it actually rolled 100 meters down the hill and was there for over 24 hours without any food or water. The baby was found the next morning almost dead, and because of the stress and trauma, the mother immediately wanted to kill the baby. So this Karen Hill tribe had brought both the mother and the baby in hopes that they could get the mother to accept the baby and nurse her and eventually bring both elephants back to their tribe. The park staff took them in, hoping eventually to find the funds to buy them and keep the elephant family. It was a complex situation involving two very different agendas from both sides. Stephanie and I immediately wanted to stay all week and volunteer at the park, but our belongings were still at the guest house in the city of Chiang Mai, and we had some stuff scheduled for the next day. But when we returned to our guest house, we immediately began making arrangements to go back to the Elephant Nature Park and volunteer for a full week. The next day, we finalized a 5-day volunteer stay at the Elephant Nature Park, and we left Chiang Mai the next morning. We spent 5 amazing days at the park. Some of it was not so glamorous, like shoveling poop, and some of it was much, much more important responsibilities than we had initially expected. We were actually asked to spend time in the pen nursing and caring for the baby elephant. We usually worked 2-hour shifts at a time and monitored and documented the baby's physical condition. So we were documenting things like eating habits, heart rate, sleeping and waking, movement, and that sort of thing. I do have to say it was really quite intimidating sitting in that pen with the baby elephant and the mother elephant that wanted to kill the baby elephant. It did get a lot better after the Elephant Nature Park had actually made an agreement where the mother could be chained up. I was much more confident that I would not die at that point. While we were at that nature park, we became acquainted with such a diverse community in the park. Most of the volunteers were Westerners and Europeaners, like American, British, Danish, Austrian, and the non-Western park employees, such as the cooks and the mahouts, or the elephant caretakers, were Thai, Burmese, and from different hill tribes around the area, such as Karen and Shan, Bong, etc. There were actually about 7 different languages spoken between the employees, but the common language among everybody seemed to be the Thai language, and of course English for the non-park employee tourist people such as us. During the downtime, we were able to help lots of the mahouts and people practice their English, which was really interesting. We got to talk to the mahouts that were from these indigenous hill tribes, that had nothing to do with the tourist industry. So they were simply there to work with the elephants, just as they would have done in their mountain villages. We slept in bamboo huts, and we ate the most amazing Thai food every day and got the most amazing Thai massages every night that we paid about $4 an hour for. We really didn't expect such a culturally rich experience. We really just wanted to go there to see the elephants and really had our heart set on working with this 4-day-old elephant, which everybody just started calling Baby Ellie after a while. During our stay there, she was really just the star of the show, and it was the most amazing privilege to work with Baby Ellie and to be in that environment, in that therapeutic, transformative environment. It was such a healing place. It was absolutely amazing. So eventually our time there did come to an end, and we went back to Chiang Mai and we became regular tourists again. We took cooking classes, had lots of Thai massages, looked at ruins, did all that sort of touristy stuff, and about a week later we checked in online with the Elephant Nature Park to find out the status of the baby elephant, and we found out that she had passed away actually just a day or two after we left. Nobody knows exactly why, but apparently she was injured by the mother. The mother did manage to get unchained at some point and attacked the baby right before her condition began to seriously decline. So there's a possibility that there was internal injuries or some kind of internal bleeding. It made us both so sad, though. We'd spent just about a week taking care of her and loving her, and just became so personally invested and emotionally invested in this beautiful animal, and then she had passed away. So it changed our mood, obviously, from, happy, carefree, touristy, kind of a more festive way of being, to just feeling terrible and melancholy, and, well, you can imagine. Stephanie and I talked about it later in the night, and we really came to terms with the fact that, the baby may have died a much more painful and horrendous death had it stayed at that Karen Hill tribe. She was born from a logging elephant and would have lived in an illegal foresting camp, which really may have been a very miserable life. And, she probably would have died a horrendous death in that environment, being malnourished and extremely dehydrated when she came to the camp. She was really in terrible, terrible physical condition. And instead, she lived a short life. She lived about 10 days in that beautiful, natural, therapeutic place, and was loved by not only all the people around her, but all of the elephants in that nature park just stayed close to that pen and showed all this great concern for this little sick baby that had been brought in. So, although it was incredibly disappointing how her stay at the park came to an end, she was given a short but very rich and beloved life as a result of everyone's work at the park. And that is something that Stephanie and I had come to terms with, and something that really made us reflect on our own lives and the way we look at crises and loss and how that fits into the big picture.